Welcome back to Spike Piledriver Wrestling. My name is Anders, and on today's episode of Local to Global, we're going to continue the Piledriver Grand Prix, which is the biggest and best round-robin tournament in American wrestling history. It's 1998, and the Local to Global save began in January 1992. Now, for those unfamiliar with the channel, this is a save where we go from local, the smallest promotion possible in Total Extreme Wrestling 9, all the way to global and being the biggest promotion in the world. That challenge is going really quite well, actually. We're 6 years in, and if you are not familiar, there is a playlist where you can watch every single episode where we book all the shows throughout the years, all here available at the end of this video, and just click around on the channel. Make sure you are subscribed on the channel, by the way. If you are clicking around, click subscribe. Definitely will help. Like the video, share it with all your friends. Check out the Patreon as well if you're interested in supporting the channel in that way. Many thanks to all of the Patreons and the members over there on Patreon. Your names will appear at the end of the video. And without any further ado, let's get straight into things. It's February the 13th, 1998. And as mentioned, we are going to continue booking our Piledriver Grand Prix tournament today. There's 2 blocks of 8 competitors who face each other in a round-robin format, and we'll show you here. This is the current table. The top 3, I believe, is what we're going to do. From each group, we'll go into the knockouts. So second and third from opposing groups will face each other. The winners of that will face the group winners in the semi-finals. The winners of the semi-final will face each other in the final for the big trophy that was in the thumbnail last episode, not last month. Last month in game, last episode. Excellent. So, Block A looks like this. Ricky Steamboat is currently at the top with 3 wins from 3 matches. RVD can catch him in the first episode of our TV show Unleashed. In this episode, he faces Samu in the main event of Unleashed. He's on 4 points. Also on 4 points is Tatsumi Fujinami, who has had 3 matches so far. Dave Boy Smith is just behind the qualification places in third. Over in Block B, there's been a couple less matches. Everyone has had 2 so far. That will obviously change tonight. Raven is currently on 2 for 2, as is Brutus Blades, which is Brutus Beefcake, by the way. They're both on 4 points. Lots of people on 2 points, a couple on 0 as well. They are the current standings. If you're unfamiliar, this is our current championship situation. That's the Piledriver Grand Prix. Told you, nice big gold trophy. We've also got the King of Combat, which gives you a silver trophy, which is a basically it's our Royal Rumble match. Battle Royal, winner gets a title shot whenever they like. Yo, Monkey Boy, listen up. If you ain't all jacked up, then hit the bricks and subscribe to some other loser. But if you are jacked and you are ready to let someone feel the bang, then subscribe to me. It's not like there's a choice anyway. Our champions are currently Raven, who is the World Heavyweight Champion for the 3rd time throughout his career so far in Spike Piledriver Wrestling. Won it for the first time all the way back in July of 1993, so he has been around for a while. Junior Heavyweight Champion is Perry Saturn. Yes, he does just qualify for the £220 limit for the junior division. He won it last time out. On our pay-per-view Ascension. We've got World Tag Team Champions of the Hardy Brothers, their current 2-time champions, held it since December, and TV Champion is Samu, who is a member of the Throne of Savagery, which is a stable consisting of Haku, Congo the Barbarian, Samu, and Kakina Maximus, who is also known as Yokozuna. So it's basically the Bloodline before the Bloodline. They're our big heel faction at the moment. That's our current title situation. That's the tournament situation. So let's just go straight into Unleashed, which is our Friday weekly show. We do it live now. It's 13th of February. We have, actually I can't show you on this screen because we're in the PM mode already, but we have confirmed a shift over to MTV for Unleashed by the time we get to the end of April. So the final couple of rounds of the tournament will be on MTV, which will get us even better coverage across America. Whilst we're speaking of coverage, here is our current size situation. We are the 3rd biggest promotion in both America and the world. We are close to taking over WCW in that 2nd spot. Now, we are bigger in 4 regions, but smaller in the rest across the US. So on average, I think they're at 70 across every region. So we're a little bit behind them overall, but we're very, very close, and they're on the down, we're on the up, because apparently Bradshaw is their owner, and he is failing. Rest of the world, we've got some good popularity in Canada, getting there in Mexico, so we're building this every month by running a show in each of the 2 regions you can see on screen, Norest and Noro Occidente. We need to get those up to 40 to get coverage on 40MX, or whatever it's called, 4TVMX, which I think we need to get 40 there, and then we get big coverage across the rest of Mexico. British Isles, we are currently trying to get Midlands up to 48. We're currently covered on Eurosport. If we get the Midlands up to 48, we can shift that over to ITV, which gets much bigger coverage across the rest of the country and will help bring up the rest of the UK. This was from buying All Star Wrestling, which is why we've got a much bigger popularity in Northern England. We've been working on getting the Midlands one up. We kind of hit the cap with Eurosport at 45, so we're back to running shows there every month. And we ran a show after the last episode before this one, and it got up to 46, so that is the way we're going to get onto ITV. Japan, we bought All Japan Women's Pro Wrestling, and we are just continuing to grow there. 63, 64 for most regions, 58 for Shikoku for some reason. But we're just going to keep building on there to the point where we can move on to a bigger network. And then Europe, we need to get all the regions up to at least 20, because once we move from Eurosport to ITV in the UK, that will cut all our coverage out in Europe. So we need to continue building up that by picking up some local broadcasters in Europe. Okay, and then Oceania, India, don't care about those because we're not anywhere yet in those two regions. Right, let's go into the first show of the episode. Unleashed, episode 155, which will continue the Piledriver Grand Prix. And we kick things off at the Freedom Hall Civic Centre in front of 8,500 people with Brutus Blades. He claims that he's been reading the sheets, and everyone is surprised that Brother Brutai is unbeaten so far in the Piledriver Grand Prix. Not only is he a fantastic hairdresser, he's also a fantastic wrestler. And the fans know it, so why don't the so-called experts? He's questioning why the likes of Dave Meltzer in this virtual world are querying why Brutus is getting a push. Well, he's over and he can actually still go, so why not? 55 for his promo. I'm kind of expecting a little bit better, to be honest, but still not a bad start to the show. We go into his match against Marcus Bagwell, and he gets another victory. I think this is his third from 3 in his group, so he's now leading the way in the group. Bagwell puts in a better in-ring performance, but it helps Brutus with a high knee. He gets a 60. Bagwell with a 73. He's a stalwart in our mid-card. Overall, though, the match rating is a 74, which is nicely done to start the show in a strong manner. And we go into our next match, which continues the push of Goliath. That's the big show. He defeated his dad, Andre the Giant, at our last pay-per-view Ascension, and he is now continuing to get the victories. Another victory here, this time against El Sagrado from the junior division. Chokeslam in 5 minutes, 63 for the match rating. That will continue his push and growth. We're trying to get him to a position where he can basically become one of our top stars. He's getting there, slowly but surely. Consistent push is working. He's not the only big star he's beat is Andre, and he's gradually working his way up the card that way. Then we get a 6-man tag or a trios match between a couple of sets of champions. So Perry Saturn's the junior champion, the Hardy Brothers the tag team champions. They face Todd Champion, not an actual champion, and the Fantastics, Bobby and Jackie Fulton. And Matt Hardy beat Bobby Fulton with a twist of fate. Perry Saturn head and shoulders above everyone else. And is that a joke about how much bigger he is than the junior division? Not sure. He's smaller, technically, than Matt Hardy in weight. 74 for Perry Saturn, 64 for Jeff Hardy. Matt at 51, all the heels on the losing side. About 40. 66 overall, not bad. And then after the match, the trio of champions are victorious, but a pissed off Taka Michinoku strikes Saturn from behind, and the former junior heavyweight champion takes out the man who beat him last week and drops him on his head with a Michinoku driver. This is not over yet. Taka wants his title back. 57, crowd got hotter off the back of it. Nice to see. Mark Merrow then struggled when going off script, and the angle idea was a failure, but it still got an 81. After his loss, this spoiler, Merrow loses the match that follows this. This should have been the other way around. Anyway, a disappointed Mark Merrow vows to do better in his next match. He may have now lost 2 in a row. He's going to lose in a second. He can still qualify if he can regain his focus when it matters. Now, spoiler, he loses to Kokina Maximus. This should have happened prior to that angle, but never mind. Yokozuna beats him, belly-to-belly suplex, after interference from Sherry Martel. We protected Merrow, and it still didn't really make a jot of difference. He still got a really good in-ring performance. Kokina up at 61, Merrow at 79. They have great chemistry. Match overall got a 77. Now pretend that the promo that happened afterwards has just happened. So thank you. Merrow's on a losing streak. He's lost focus since losing the title, but never mind. Then we cut to RVD, who was terrible without a script to follow. Wonderful. He gets a 67. He's out before his next match. with the best damn wrestler, that's his nickname, stating that he is enjoying being in the same block as the legendary Ricky Steamboat. He's had a sneak peek of the schedule and can see that Van Dam and Steamboat will be the final league match in this group. So he's going to take great pleasure in ruining Steamboat's tournament. Thank you, Van Dam. You're going to be in action next, though, against Samu. And the main event gets an 84, which is a great way to finish the show. Rob Van Dam beats the TV champion in just under 17 minutes after the 5-star Frog Splash. Both men with the 82 and 83 respectively performance. Samu outperforming RVD, which is surprising. But the creative finish was also successful. It's at 84 for the match. Samu puts in good performances. RVD can bring it to a higher level on a big day, but generally week to week, Samu is doing fantastically well. Great way to close the show. 84 gets an overall rating of 82. We've increased our popularity in 25 regions. 2 British regions have been restricted because we've hit the cap. We can only go over 45. You can't go over 45 with small coverage, rather, in the UK, and one Japanese region as well. For some reason, we just can't grow in Shikoku, but never mind. Overall, all good. Finance-wise, made $410,000 on the show. Popularity up across the board in America and Canada and most of Japan. We are now 67, 66 in a couple of regions. We're getting close. I'll show you WCW's size in a second. I'll show you how close we are to beating them. But we're still being let down by Puerto Rico and Hawaii. But once we get MTV coverage in a couple of months, that's very big compared to the big coverage we've currently got. That should hopefully help increase our popularity quicker in those regions and overtake WCW. And I want to get to the point where we are a bigger size. I think we need 77 in loads of regions in the US. Because once we do that, Randy Savage is still a free agent and he's currently saying no to joining us because we're too small for him. But once we get bigger, he will say yes, and he, even in the late 90s, will still be a fantastic addition to the roster. But we'll get to that when we get to that. It's probably towards the end of 98, let's be honest. But just signposting that Randy Savage is a free agent still, and now I've said it, he's probably going to go off and sign for someone else. But I think realistically, the only company he wants to sign for is the WWF, and he doesn't want to sign for them, so he doesn't want to go to WCW because they're about the same size as us, or smaller, really. Realistically, we're about the same. So if he doesn't want to come to us because they're too small, then WCW is also too small. Right, this is taking a lot of processing, but we are there now. Thank you. Don't care about that or that. Okay. Viewing figures, 2.875 million people have watched Unleashed. That's a good number of people. Excellent stuff. Now, what was I going to show you if we go to promotions and order by size? So the WWF, 87 across the board, really. We're not going to catch them anytime soon. WCW, 70, and 65, 66. Now, this has been going down since the start of the year. They're at 78, all the way down to 17. Sorry, in the last year, they've gone from 78 to 70. We, however, have done the opposite. So we are now here, look, growing. We are close to 70 in a lot of regions. But at the beginning, a year ago, our biggest region was 55. Now, it's 76. So we are coming on leaps and bounds and catching WCW hand over fist. Now, ignore the fact that New Japan Pro Wrestling is 98 in Japan. That's massive. CMLL is 88 in Mexico. That's also massive. But we are bigger than them, apparently. We're ranked 3rd in the world. So, fine. Whatever. They are also quite big in Japan. We are bigger than WCW. Not quite in Canada or Mexico. But we are close in the British Isles. We are bigger than them in Japan. And that's it, really. So I'll ignore looking at the rest of the pages. Right, what we will do now is we'll go for a week. And, in fact, we can show you here, look, MTV, very big, starts. Not yet. So where is A&E? They're big, and that finishes on the 24th of April. So it will shift over to MTV on that date. And we've got, that's the rest of the coverage. You can see it there. You can see it. We go onto the coverage screen, wherever the coverage screen is here. Yeah. We've got it on screen there. We're going to try and get ITV in the UK to get that bigger, and then hopefully try and fill in the gaps in Europe to make sure we don't lose the growth we are gaining there. Get some coverage in Mexico, and then potentially when we get, I think we need to get British Columbia. If we go back to size here in Canada, we need British Columbia up to, from my memory, 53. I think we need 4 regions at 53 to get bigger coverage in Canada, so that's the aim there as well. So there's lots of things to keep tracking. I talk about broadcasting deals a lot, They're very important to grow your company, obviously. Right, happy Valentine's Day. I will see you in 6 days' time for the next episode of Unleashed. Stay tuned. Get subscribed if you aren't already. Thanks. Okay, we are back for Unleashed 156, 20th of February, and we're doing something in the main event that's not tournament related, but we'll get there. Well, we'll start there right now. We're at the Liacouras Centre in the Tri-State, 9,434 people in attendance, and we start the show with Ricky Steamboat in a fantastic fashion. He gets a 92, strong start. He starts the show and he's fed up of waiting and listening to both RVD and Raven running their mouths each and every week. He's found himself a partner tonight in Brutus Blades, and he wants a tag team attraction match in the main event. No tournament or championship consequences, just pride on the line from the Dragon. He's making the main event, and he gets a fantastic rating of 92 for the promo. Improvised brilliantly. Great start to the show, and we go into our our opening contest, and it's tournament action, would you believe, as Samu defeats the Kid in just over 10 minutes with a diving headbutt. Kid still broken down. Samu, 79. Sean, wonderful stuff, gets a 69 for the match itself, and gets another victory on the board. Quietly building a resume of points, a collection of points, I don't know, something of points in his block. And speaking of, we've got someone later in the show who's also doing the same sort of thing. Goliath beats Super Crazy, 8 minutes, chokeslam 55. Keep that push going. That's all we've got to say. Just keep the push going. Christian Cage thinks... I've got a new picture for him, by the way. That was a comment. Someone asked for a new picture for Christian, so we've given him one. Christian Cage thinks many people are sleeping on him during the Piledriver Grand Prix, and whilst he may not have the resume of some of his more experienced opponents, he's been around for a while here, and he's the breakout star. In 20 years, when people think about this tournament, everyone will be talking about how it was the beginning of the greatest career in professional wrestling history. His. So there you go. He's going to be the breakout star. 75 though. Great promo. Nearly up there with Ricky Steamboat. I think with a bit more overness, he would be. Anyway, great job here. And he then goes into the ring, and slightly disappointing, but he defeats the Patriot, who drops a stinker of a 39. Why is he in this tournament? 55 for Christian. Another victory for him. 57 overall. Not quite at the standard we've seen elsewhere, but still really good. Davey Boy Smith is out next, and he promises another victory tonight. This is the guy we were talking about, who's quietly building a high amount of points. He talks about quietly putting together a winning streak, being unbeaten since arriving here in December. That only blotch on his record being the draw with Samu a few weeks ago. He will keep the victories coming and capture the Piledriver Grand Prix en route to becoming the World Heavyweight Champion. And who are you to doubt him? He's the uncrowned Intercontinental Champion, because he was the Intercontinental Champion when he left. He never lost it. He's a real Intercontinental Champion. 73, great promo. Moving on to his match, which is equally as good, as he beats Joe Kazana. Sorry, Joe lost again. Military press slam is enough to put away above average Joe, who drops us 41. Not great. 73 though for the match is okay, and the reason we put on a high-profile main event is because the schedule has given us such that we haven't got one standout match on this week's worth of tournament matches. So here we go then. RVD struggled off script again. Raven and RVD are together before the main event, and they both admit that they are an unlikely alliance given their history. If you remember, they've had 3 steel cage matches against each other over the years. They don't like each other, but now RVD's a heel, they're having to team. So, oh well. Given the enemy of my enemy is my friend, therefore they will team together tonight to kick Steamboat's ass. That will open the doors, pave the way, all of the other idioms, to the two men meeting in the final of the Piledriver Grand Prix and rekindling their rivalry, and maybe even giving RVD a shot at Raven's world title. So don't forget, Raven is the world champion, even though this tournament's going on. 82 for the promo. When we go into the main event now, I'm expecting this one to be an absolute barnstormer, and hopefully... Oh, 82. Okay. I mean, most of that is A, Brutus, and B, sports entertainment draw. Gonna have a bit of an hindrance on the rating, but never mind. Creative finish worked to help punch it up a little bit. But it's a draw. Chaos after 16 minutes. Brutus couldn't keep up with everyone else, but that's what you expect. 90 from Steamboat, 82 from RVD, 80 from Raven, 63 from Brutus. Creative finish success. okay, a little bit of an overbooked mess to go to close the show, but we didn't want to give anyone a victory out of these four or rather, didn't want to give any of them a loss. So we needed to do it, and it got us a good rating for the main event to keep the show overall going where we needed to go, and got an 83, so that's good. Again, increases in 18, stunted growth in 3 regions that you can see on screen. It's the usual 3. Finance-wise, another 400 plus K on the show, slowly eating into that debt from buying out All Japan Women's. Up to 73 in the Mid-Atlantic, 54 in Hawaii, 54 in Quebec, 45 in British Columbia. That's slowly getting to where we need it to be. Nowhere else saw any growth because we've hit the caps in every other region now, so that is the growth we're getting this month. But February's short, so only one more TV taping left before we're into March and we start growing some more, or getting some more gains once again. Alright, that's good. We'll have a quick look over the current tournament standings after 2 weeks in this episode. We've got 2 more and the pay-per-view, so 3 more banks basically of matches before the end of this episode, so we're kind of halfway. So we'll have a quick look at what the standings look like. You can kind of get an idea of where we're going with the groups and who's going to be in those top 3 spaces mainly. Got a few storylines and threads going through the tournament, as you probably will, or hopefully you will have picked up upon as we've gone through the last couple of TV tapings and all the TV tapings and pay-per-view in the last episode as well. So hopefully you can start to see things coming into shape. We're at week, 8 or 9 of the tournament, so we can kind of get an idea of where we're going now. So you can see here's Group A, Block A, 6 points for Steamboat, 6 points for Van Dam, 5 for Davy Boy. Samu's on 3, Fujinami's on 4, Aztec are on 2, and then Kid and Kazana battling it out for the wooden spoon, both on 0 points so far. Kid having 1 more match already in the books. Samu's on 4 matches as well, so you're kind of getting close to halfway here. You can see Block B slightly lagging behind a week. 4 points for Raven, Christian Cage and Kakina Maximus, but Brutus Blades leads the way at 6 points. 2 on the board for Bagwell and Mero, 0 for Funk and the Patriot. Hopefully you can kind of see where we're going with a couple of the threads going through here. So we've got Mero, Raven, Kakina, Brutus, Cage. This group you can see is what's happening. Hopefully it's a lot clearer in Group A as well. It's going to be a 2-horse race between Steamboat and RBD. We've already said that's the last group match for Block A, so hopefully that leads to what's happening there. But you can watch it all unfold by continuing to watch this video and checking out the next episode as well. But until our next episode of Unleashed, we're going to go forward 6 days again, and we'll be back with number 157. So stay tuned. Okay, back once again for some more Unleashed, and we may as well just get straight into things. It's going to be building a couple of more matches for the pay-per-view in, well, a week's time, and continuing of the tournament. So we'll go straight in. We are at the Extraco Event Centre, which I think is Mid-South. Maybe it's Mid-Atlantic. I can't remember which one I pressed. Anyway, 8,385 people in attendance, and we start the show with Christian Cage and his new photo, feeling very, very brave for some reason. Before his tournament bouts, he mocks the Throne of Savagery and Kakina Maximus in particular. He calls the group the Throne of Dorks, because it's 1998, of course he does, and jokes about how Maximus is an understatement given the size of Kakina. This is not going to end well for him, but it's giving him some character, and it allows us to basically use his promo ability and get a good segment rating to start the show of 72. We move forward, and it's Kakina Maximus defeating Christian Cage in the opening contest. Yes, a 55 overall. Christian and Yokozuna have great chemistry, but neither man quite there in the ring just yet. 63 for Kakina, 55 for Christian. Gets a 55 overall. This is kind of why we're just keeping Christian ticking along on the undercard, because he's not quite at the level where he can pull in sort of 60s, 70s, even 80s in his in-ring performance, which is really noticeable for the main event talent. But 55 is good enough, and a victory for Kakina keeps him rolling, pun not intended. Steven Regal doesn't believe that Perry Saturn weighs 220 pounds. I was shocked as well, but Regal definitely does, because he brings out a set of scales and proves that he does indeed weigh exactly 220 pounds. With that in mind, Regal is now part of the junior division, and has his sights set on Saturn and his title, just like Taka Michinoku did. So maybe we're building towards a three-way at the next pay-per-view. 49, I was hoping his promo would have got a little bit better than that, but his overness is still really low. His popularity is really low. So it's okay, though. Keeps the crowd going. 49, not too bad. We then have a match where he beats Joey Maggs. I don't think Joey Maggs is a junior, but Regal defeats him by submission in 10 minutes. Nice victory to keep him rolling. Gets a 55 for both his in-ring performance and the match rating. Crowd didn't really care, but we can move forward. That's just the mid-card, the undercard, whatever. Oh, this isn't great either. As the Throne of Savagery, Konga and Haku defeat both Mortons, Tyler and Todd, I think. Kid Cash is one of them. Asian Spike from Haku makes Tyler submit. 52, not great, but it gives the Throne of Savagery a road towards the tag title shot once again. Then Raven comes out. World Champion Raven was already planning to beat Brutus up and defeat him tonight, but after Blades made the mistake to help Ricky Steamboat out last week, the champion has even more reason to make an example out of brother Brutai and remind him that we still all live under Raven's rules. 82, not much else to say other than the crowd is now a bit hotter because of this promo. When we go into the match, where 77 and Brutus sustained a minor concussion, which is not good for his title aspirations and his tournament aspirations rather. But Raven gets the victory. Even flow DDT just before the time limit expired. He only had 30 seconds leeway, and he gets the job done. The injury will have obviously had an impact on the match rating, but still a 77 is not bad whatsoever. What this means for the rest of the tournament for Brutus, we will have to see, depending on how his injury actually impacts him over the next few weeks. He may have to be replaced. 77, though, is not bad in the slightest. So we can't complain about that. Minor concussion. Let's see how bad that is. Thanks, Dutch, telling us nothing we didn't already know. We go to Ricky Steamboat, and he cuts a great promo as well. He's annoyed that last week's main event resolved absolutely nothing, but he must focus now on his Block A match tonight. Make no mistake, he still has unfinished business with both RVD and Raven. And if he can't resolve it during the Piledriver Grand Prix, then he'll have to do so afterwards. Obviously, RVD's in his group. Raven, world champion, so if he wins it, he'll face him. So he will basically be able to resolve it. 89 for the promo, and we go into the main event, which obviously features Ricky Steamboat and the Kid. And Steamboat gets the victory in just under 10 minutes because Sean Waltman cannot go anymore whatsoever. Steamboat with a 90, Kid with a 44, 82 overall. Steamboat's looking good. Could have been better, but the Kid just cannot hold it up anymore. It's 1998 and he is already shot. 82 overall is fine. Show's increased in 10 regions. We are rolling into March just like that. We couldn't have got any better, I don't think. Injury-wise, he's out for 30 days. Now, that is going to be troublesome. I think he'll probably miss a couple of matches. We'll have to have a look at the schedule and rejig things around. But we'll figure it out. We'll probably not replace him. We'll just move the matches around and give him a very, very busy end of the tournament. 406,000 profit, still nicely done there. Popularity recap, up to 74, 77, 76 in those three regions. It's all good. Up to 60 in Alberta as well, first Canadian province to get into the 60s. We are rolling nicely. Excellent stuff. Right, so that's 30 days. I'm going to go and have a look at the schedule now and see what we need to move around to get it so brother Brutai can have all of his matches. But we'll be back in a week's time for the final Unleashed. And then our pay-per-view, which the name escapes me for some reason right now. It's March's pay-per-view, if that helps anyone. I can't remember what my pay-per-view names are. It's the one after Ascension and the one before April. I know that High Voltage is in May. I can tell you that. I should really know my schedule. We've been playing this save since 1992. It's now 1998, and the events have been the same since at least 93. Most of them were in the same place in 92. So you'd think, if I was a competent booker, that I would know. Brutus, out injured. Schedule, it's not Redemption, because that's when we go to Mexico. Now let's show history, events and TV. There we go. Full Throttle! There we go, it's Full Throttle. And then it's Legacy in April, just to let you know, in case you're wondering. But we will be back for the final Unleashed and lead straight into Full Throttle in 6 days' time. So, excellent. How many viewers did we get this week? Brutus is injured for a month. 2.9 million once again, excellent stuff. 3.86 TV rating. And that's wonderful. I mean, I've got to keep an eye up here as well. It's going to eventually tick over. We'll drop into second soon when we pass over WCW. But until then, we'll be back. See you in a sec. Okay then, time for the go-home show and the pay-per-view preview, kind of pre-show. Not really a pre-show, is it? But Unleashed, anyway, just before Full Throttle, and this will set up a few things for Full Throttle as well. The pay-per-view is kind of a bit weird. The pay-per-views are kind of just extended TV shows, but we'll get there anyway. When we get to the end of the Piledriver Grand Prix, we're back to normal order being resumed. And we're in the Thompson Bowling Arena once again. She's kind of our home for pay-per-views when we're in the southeast at least. And we start the show with Terry Funk. And the Wild Man looks to be back. Funk promises that the old Funker is here to stay. And tonight he's going to show why he's a former world champion and that he has enough left in the tank to basically be a future world champion as well. So that's a good promo to start the show. Gets a 69. Nice rating. Crowd hot and rising. They love a good 69. Hang on. Anyway, Funk is in action in the opening contest. He takes on Kokina Maximus and he gets the victory. Spinning toe hold around the giant legs of the future former Yokozuna. I don't know anymore. We're kind of in a weird timeline now, aren't we? Is enough for the submission victory. Funk picks up his first victory of the tournament. Despite being off his game, and Yokozuna once again has great chemistry with another person. He is chemistry ridden, if that's in a good way. 70 for the match rating though. Funk's 58 despite being off his game. Kokina up to 65, which is good. Sherry did some good work at ringside. 70, crowd white hot. We move forward to Goliath getting another victory, this time over Super Delphine. 58 for the match. It is what it is. Continuing the push of the big man. But we'll see some more of him later, don't worry. Steven Regal, Taka Michinoku and Shoichi Funaki get a victory over Perry Saturn and the Killer Bees. Brunzel taps out to the Regal stretch in just over 10 minutes. Regal putting in a strong showing, Taka putting in a strong showing, but Saturn head and shoulders above everyone else. 74 for his in-ring performance. Match rating gets a 70, which is really actually pretty darn good for our undercard six-man tag. That will build into later on in the pay-per-view. Before the next match though, Davey Boy Smith tells of his big respect for Angel Azteca, and he didn't do very well without script this time. This is a shame. He normally does quite well in his promos. He's making his country proud, just like Davey is, and he's showing the true spirit of Lucha Libre. It's Davey's honour to go into battle against him tonight. He respects someone. Just remember that word. 67 for the promo, still good, despite being a little bit wobbly without script. And the match itself is excellent. 77, Angel Azteca still coming into his own, getting a push as one of our premier juniors, the only junior really featured in the Piledriver Grand Prix. But he does lose to a running power slam from Big Davey. 77 for the match, 75 for Davey, 69, nice again for Angel Azteca. But Davey isn't done, because afterwards he's blindsided by a huge right hand from out of nowhere. It's only Goliath. He's hit the ring and taken Davey down. Plants him with a massive chokeslam and screams about getting the respect that he deserves. Not Angel, Goliath. He's much bigger. And this is because Davey said he wanted to put him over. So let's go for it. Put him over, Davey. Put your money where your mouth is. 62 for the segment, and it will build to something potentially on pay-per-view later on. Even though Davey's part of the Grand Prix, Goliath is just forcing his big ass into things. 62, and we move forward to our main event as Raven defeats Marcus Bagwell in tournament action. Even flow DDT from the world champ is enough for the victory. 15.5 minutes. 79 from Raven, 74 from Bagwell. Overall gets an 81 though. Great main event to close the show. But we have a promo after the fact that Raven, despite his usual appearances, is actually missing defending the world title. After his victory tonight, he announces that whoever his next opponent is in the tournament, they're getting lucky and getting a shot at the world title as well as a chance to break Raven's winning streak in Block B. Now, this is later on the pay-per-view, so Raven's pulling double duty, and so is the man he faces in what is now a world title match. I'll tell you about that when we get to the show itself. 92 though for the promo afterwards, and that is another strong showing. 82 overall, up in 36 regions, 3 stunted because of the limited number of viewers available in said regions, but a good closing TV show for the pay-per-view. A 92 promo at the end helped definitely. Right, we'll get to the full throttle in a second. What I'm going to do now, though, is I'm going to cut right here, finish putting all the show together, make sure anyone who needs to be in the pre-show is in the pre-show, make sure we basically have filled out the full 2 hours. I think we have, but I'll pull it all together and jump back in and run through the show itself. So stay tuned. I will see you in the blur of the screen. Stay tuned. Alrighty then, it's pay-per-view time and we're ready for full throttle. A couple of pre-show matches, even though technically the TV is, I do this every month, the TV happens and then we go straight live onto pay-per-view. Doesn't matter, we've got pre-show, game, who cares? And yeah, we'll go through. Obviously, this is, I'm just going to say it now because I'll probably forget it after the pay-per-view's finished. This episode is going to be a bit shorter than the normal hour-long ones we get. Basically because tournament booking is a lot more straightforward, so there's a lot less explaining what's going on and building up to stuff. So I expect this one and probably the next one to be a little bit on the shorter side. I say that, we're probably still going to hit about 45 minutes in total. And then we'll, go back to our normal hour-long sessions when we get through to the end of the Piledriver Grand Prix. But pay-per-view for March, here we go. And we start off with a pre-show match in front of 21,678 at the Thompson Bowling Arena, which I believe is a sellout. Rex King, Lance Storm, Flamante Turbo beat El Hijo del Diablo, Angus King and Don Callis. After a Piledriver from Rex King's just thrown together, why not chuck people in a match kind of match? They're here, 49, carry on. A little bit more of a, these guys should be on the card and they aren't because it's just the way the tournament works. But Christian Cage and the Kid get a victory. This is hopefully to try and persuade the Kid that he shouldn't be angry about everything, which he is at the moment, but I'm angry about his performances, so... Patriot and Tim Horner are on the losing end. Patriot is just there to do the job. Tim Horner's just there to do the job, rather. Super kick from the Kid. Gets things done. 55. Okay, that's the pre-show done. No one really stood out here. Christian Cage is still more of a on the microphone and charisma kind of performer than he is in ring. That will obviously improve as he gets older and develops more, but at this point, that's kind of where his strengths lie. 55, though. Pre-show done. Opening of the main show is, well, we're going to drop a Ricky Steamboat promo, aren't we? Because, of course, he knows that he has the opportunity to go unbeaten in his block now, but with 3 matches left and arguably the 3 toughest opponents still to face, he's under no illusions that it's going to be a difficult task. But the Dragon is up to the challenge, and obviously one of those 3 challenges is RVD, who we know he will face on week 17, the final week of Block A. But promo starts us off nicely. He's not in action tonight. He's just here cutting a nice promo. Gets a 90. That should definitely help with the overall show rating. We move on to our opening contest as Angel Azteca and big above-average Joe Kazana go to war in a Block A tournament bout, and interference from Angus King. You thought we'd forgotten about him and his alliance with above average Joe. Well, we haven't. Well, we had, but we haven't now. He's back. He's interfering. Joe Kazana picks up the victory. He breaks the duck and it gets a 69, which is nice and fine. I don't know, but it was good match rating. In-ring performances. Joe Kazana's up there with Angel Azteca, and that's not a bad thing to say at all, but 69 is nicely done. For this one, opening contest is good. Promo afterward, or angle afterwards, is a little bit of a letdown, but it is what it is. Joe Kazana's finally done it. He's got some points on the board. Over the top celebration from above average Joe follows, with Angus King looking on, shaking his head and a bit disgusted by his boss's behaviour in the background. But over the top celebration, above average Joe gets up onto 2 points. He is off the duck. He's broken the duck. 44 though is a little bit poor. Never mind. Bill Goldberg then beats Rhino with a jackhammer. 50. Just is what it is. Rhino, he is a former TV champion, but his push is we've just got bigger and better people on the roster now. So it's a shame because I really like Rhino, but he's just not got the in-ring chops really to do much. His time of improving and getting himself into a better position on the card has probably passed him by at this moment. He's just been around for too long to really make any sort of impact now. I think he still is technically with ECW as well, but ECW now in game is nothing compared to what they were at this point in the real world, so it's probably not going to be much of a benefit for him. But, you know, he's still here, still on the roster, still technically managed by Don Callis as well. 50-0 for the match is just a Goldberg victory now at this point. We then get a bit of a thrown together six-man tag just to get a few people on the card, namely RVD, Samu and Kikina Maximus, who team together to defeat Van Hammer and the Killer Bees. RVD picks up the victory once again. Again, he's just sort of on turn up and win duty on pay-per-view at the moment. Gets a 73 for this one. A little bit disappointing, but it's basically the face side letting things down. RVD with a 75, Samu with a 74, Kikina with a 62. Nothing said about the other side of the ledger, the better, I guess. 73, fine. Can't complain really at that. We then get to the other members of the Throne of Savagery, Konga and Haku, once again losing to the Hardy Boys. Matt Hardy picking up the victory. Defense number 6 of the World Tag Team titles for the Hardys. We're trying to get Matt up to the same level as Jeff. Jeff is very much, if he wasn't in his tag team duty at the moment, he could be TV champion, let's put it that way. But Matt Hardy is not quite there yet. He is getting there, and he's probably technically slightly better in ring as well. He's got the psychology now to do a called in the ring match. Jeff hasn't. But Jeff is more over and getting better in ring performances, actually, so what do I know? Anyway, 69, again, another very, very nice rating for a segment on this show. This is the nice show, that's for sure. We then have the three-way match for the Junior Heavyweight Championship as Perry Saturn defends against Taka and Steven Regal. And he gets the victory. Death Valley Driver on Regal is his first defense of the Junior Heavyweight Championship. All three men put in some really good, strong performances, and we get a 74 for the match rating. Regal going down is a little bit disappointing for him as he's finally starting to put something together. But a good showing all around from all three men. Good, solid mid-card match for our lowest singles title, I guess. But 74, good showing all around. Then we get a promo from Davey Boy Smith, who's gone back to being superb working without a script. Had the crowd in his hand, the palm of his hand the whole time. And he is absolutely fuming for what happened earlier tonight on Unleashed. He calls out Goliath. He doesn't care about the tournament right now. He says, if you want respect, big man, you got to earn it in this ring right here tonight. Davey with a fire promo, 85. And that leads into a match against Goliath, and you know what's going to happen here. Goliath gets the victory, and it's a 77 as well. Davey does what he said he would do. He's put over the big man. It's his first loss in the company since joining, and Goliath gets a huge, huge scalp. Literally, a 77 match rating is going to be the best that Big Show's done in this save so far. I'm pretty sure of it. His in-ring performance at 55, but it's Davey at 74 doing the JOB to put over the big man. 77, that is going to help his popularity no end. I think he's in the low 50s at the moment, maybe 54, 55, mid-50s. If he's not jumped up into the near 60s maybe. After that, I'm not sure what will do it. But Davey Boy hopefully won't have fallen out of the 70s at this point. So I think he was 73. We'll check after the match, after the show, just to see where we get to on that. But great match there. Davey doing what he said he would do. We then have a disappointing creative finish. But it's a draw, a time limit draw between Mark Merrow and Marcus Bagwell. Now, obviously, these pair exchanged the TV title at one point, not too long ago. But Merrow can't get the victory here. He's gone all the way to the time limit and can't quite do it, so his run is not going well so far. 72 overall. Merrow with an 82. Bagwell, only a 69. Again, nice, but not quite nice enough, and the creative finish pulled it down ever so slightly at the end. But Merrow's woes continue. We'll see how it looks in the tournament standings at the end of the show as well. And speaking of the end of the show, we are doing another cracking promo as Terry Funk says he is a lucky man. He is the beneficiary of Raven's boredom, and he gets a shot at the world title tonight in the Block B main event. Funk tells Raven that it's better to be lucky than good, but unfortunately for the champ, the old Funker is good as well. 90, great promo, leads into our main event. A classic, only gets an 81 though, and Raven's off his game. Funk's not quite as good as he was, but Raven makes the first defense of his world title, and he won it back in, was it January? I think it was January. First defense. But Raven's defended the title, even flow DDT, 15.5 minutes over Terry Funk. He also notches up another victory in Block B of the Piledriver Grand Prix. 81 is the way we close the show. 81 overall as well. We've hit the cap on 5 Canadian regions now, 2 British regions and 1 Japanese region, but still grown in 30 other regions as well, which is pretty good all around. We'll have a look at that properly in a second. Did I click finish show? No, there we go. Address the locker room. Who should we praise today? I think we should praise Raven, maybe. Give a point. Great performance. Yeah, we'll go Joe Kazana. Why not? And maybe just go Angel Azteca as well. He put in a good showing. In fact, no, we won't. We're not going to do. We're going to do Davey and Goliath, wherever he is. There, great performance from him. We want to get there. There we go. Get your morale up, please, please, please. Wonderful. Finance-wise, we made gulp 2.6 million on the show. Now, obviously, a lot of that is going to be taxed at a later date, but that's a good profit. We will eventually. So we're only making 1.2 million profit month on month anyway at the moment, so we need to keep ticking down that overall financial position. Popularity recap. Look, we're going everywhere at this great speed. Up into 20 now in all of the European regions, so we'll have a look what that has unlocked. We do have the next All-Star Wrestling show to run in the Midlands. I'm not going to do that now. I think it's Sunday, so we've got another. So we're kind of halfway through the Mexican show, so we're up to 29 in Noro Occidente and 27. That should hopefully be 29 as well in the Norest. So we're not too far away from getting to 40, which is where we need to get to in Mexico. Keep increasing everywhere in the US. That's great. We shouldn't be too far. I think WCW are now 69 across the board. They keep falling, so hopefully we'll be close to beating them up. Now, British Columbia is to 45, and that's the one we need to get to 53. Well, see, it's one of these last 3 down here, basically, to get to 53, so we can actually get a better bit of coverage in Canada. But yeah, everywhere else is as you would expect and have come to expect, not become to expect. Anyway, let's go there. We're not doing a really scrum. We'll go through an outlook. We do this every episode. You're probably bored of me looking at broadcasters now, but I'm going to see what European coverage that unlocks, because obviously we are targeting ITV in the UK, and by doing that we will no longer have Eurosport covering us for both TV and pay-per-view, so we'll need better coverage, or different coverage across various European regions. Now, there isn't at this point. I think you need to get to 45 in 3 or something like that to get to Canal. We can check to get to CanalSat. I think it's who it is who actually cover the whole of Europe. Long-term aim is to get onto Sky Sports because they cover all of UK and all of Europe at a higher level. But again, we can look through that in a second. El Hijo del Solitario is gone from All Japan. Marcus Bagwell thinks Jim Brunson don't care. Full Throttle's up to above average. Pay-per-views nearly 1 million buys, 1.98, 993,000. We did get another 359,000 watching on TV. Overall, just under 3 million again for Unleashed as well, which is all going in the right direction. Right, if we look at broadcasters now, reset coverage in Europe. We'll negotiate. Yes, hopefully this list has now got a bit bigger. We can get coverage in a couple of places now. So Central Europe, Southern Mediterranean, a bit better there. Sport.tv, SVT1 Northern Europe. So I'm tempted by this one here, ATV, because it's big and that is always good. Eurosport obviously is small everywhere, so we're at the point where we can't really grow anywhere else. Mediaset Medium, that's good. That would be good if it was bigger. They're Portuguese. They apparently cover Iberia, Western Europe, Southern Mediterranean, Southern Europe, and Central Europe. If they didn't cover Central Europe, I'd be very interested in them. But we can get on a couple of the Swedish channels as well. They're public though, so we won't get any money from them. But we will continue to grow potentially by having medium coverage in Northern Europe. Obviously, longer term, if we can just quickly go to any coverage Europe, yes, we'll go medium at least. If we can get onto Sky Sports, which we need 55 in 6 and to be big, or Sky Sports 2, we need 40 in 5. We're not actually far from that, are we? 40 in 5. So We're at 1-2. Nearly at 3. We can't. It's not going to be too long before we can get on to Sky Sports 2. So something to target in the future. Obviously, there's loads of other. I mean, this is a good one here. ATV for Austrian television would be a good one to move on to. No one else is there either at the moment. We can probably get that quite comfortably as well, because there's no other reason not to get it. So that's probably something we'll look to do ahead of our next episode. We've got Inferno, which is the Mexican show, next, followed by All Star Wrestling, which should hopefully put us up to 47, which will mean one more month and we can get to 48 in the Midlands, and therefore start negotiating with ITV. Our broadcasting deal with Eurosport ends in August for events, but we should just be able to just end that. The TV one is August as well, but that obviously will have to run until the end of the contract. But there we go. Let's quickly recap things in terms of the tournament position. In terms of Block A, Steamboat's now leading the way on 8 points. Davey Boy's just behind on 7, even though he's lost to Goliath. We'll check Goliath's popularity as well in a second. RVD is still unbeaten on 6. He's a match behind, got a match in hand against Steamboat. The Kid has lost 5 matches so far. He's only got 2 left in order to get off the 0. Joker's Honor is now off 0 as well, getting a victory over Angel Azteca, who's also on 2. And it's the top positions really. Steamboat, RVD and Davey Boy at the top. Obviously, Samu is still sniffing around potentially to get that 3rd place. So is Fujinami, who's not had a match in a while. Actually, only had 3 matches, so we'll keep an eye on him as well. Block B is very much the Raven show now. He's on 10 points. Kokina and Brutus are both on 6. Obviously, Brutus is injured for the next few weeks, so he will be doing all of his matches at the end of the tournament just to keep up. But Raven's on 10. He's got 2 matches left. He's all but secured his place in at least the knockout phase, if not the final. Only person not on any points is the Patriot, and that's probably going to stay that way. Funk's on 2, Mero's on 3, Christian's on 4, Bagwell's on 3. Mero is the one who's probably going to have to do a late charge. He wants to get into the qualifying places, so we'll see if he can pull that one off. Funk's probably all out of it now as well. I think he can only get 6 more points, so that would take him to 8. So he can't beat Raven, but he can still technically qualify, so don't worry about that, Mr. Funker. We'll see how you get on. And that's the situation we find ourselves in for the Piledriver Grand Prix. Let's have a look at where Davey Boy's popularity is. It's fallen to 68 after that. We need to get him back up to the 70s. So that loss to Goliath has had a big hit on him, but it was his idea. It was Davey's idea. Goliath is up to 58, 59, so that's gone up again from 53. He's now getting to the he's probably at the level now where if we wanted to, we could give him the TV title. I mean, Samu's very over at the moment. But if we look at that ballpark of who's in that sort of range, let's go for 57 to 60 in US popularity. Who have we got in that sort of range? The Christian's there. He's at the same level as Christian now. Haku, Kakina. Yeah, so he's in that not quite top tier, but upper echelon of our roster. He's definitely getting over. He's well known now, that's for sure. And he's got white hot momentum, so, of course he has. But that's a good victory of him. We'll keep getting him over, see how we can keep developing that. And we'll see how we keep developing the broadcasting deals, and we'll be back for the next episode where we go through another month, and we'll be in a position where I believe by the end of next pay-per-view we'll only have 2 rounds left of the tournament, and then the knockouts, and then we're all good to go for the final, which will be in 2 episodes time at High Voltage. So right, we'll go through the rest of March and Legacy at the beginning of April in our next episode. Once again, thank you for watching, thank you for joining and commenting and subscribing, which you need to make sure you do. Make sure you are subscribed. I know half of you are, half of you aren't, so if you're watching, you're not subscribed, you've got to this point, get subscribed. Do it. If you want to support the channel over on Patreon, please look at the link down in the description down below. There is no obligation, obviously, to do so. Many, many, many thanks to everyone over on Patreon. Your names will be on the screen shortly. Again, thanks for watching. Like the video, subscribe, check out the rest of the playlists. Check out the other videos here on Spike Piledriver as well. I've been trying out a lot of other games recently, so go check those out. But this is the bread and butter, and I hope you've enjoyed it. We will get a conclusion to the Piledriver Grand Prix in 2 episodes time, so stay tuned, keep watching, That's a lot of talking at the end there. Thanks again. I will see you on the next one. I've been Anders. Goodbye.